What the freak is up, everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time seeing me, then welcome to my channel. My name is Signa. I'm a fitness, lifestyle, beauty, anything you want me to be, content creator. In all realness, I'm really excited to have you guys here. I'm excited to be doing YouTube again, and I thought it was only right to come back with a bang. Today, I'm gonna be answering a bunch of your guys' frequently asked questions, and there's not really much more to say about a Q&A, so let's just get right into it. So over the last month, I have asked you guys to answer a Q&A box on my Snapchat and my Instagram, so I'm gonna take questions from both of those and combine them and answer the ones that I get asked the most often. This is gonna be raw, real, not messy, but it is gonna be my real feelings and honest, brutal truths. I just need to go back and try to find the story. Alrighty, let's see. The first question that I'm gonna ask is one that I get asked a lot, but in a lot of different ways. I'm just gonna pick this specific question and then kind of talk about all of it. How did you find and maintain discipline when you first started making changes to your lifestyle? Please, I love you. I've been following you since Musical.ly. I love you too, and thank you so much for being here for so long. For reference, for what people are talking about, if it's your first time on my YouTube page, I used to look like this, and I now look somewhat like this. I think the biggest thing when it comes to discipline is doing things that you don't want to do. A lot of people will be like, how do you have the motivation? How do you do this every single day and be happy about it and be excited? I don't. Nobody does. There's not a single person in the fitness space that I think has motivation every single day. What it comes down to is discipline. I know everybody says to follow the plan and not your mood, and those are easy things to say to yourself, but not easy things that you can necessarily always implement into your life. Something that I really had to learn was that I needed to be stronger than what my mental was telling me some days. So if I wake up and I'm like, you know what, today sucks, I'm sad about this, I hate this, I don't want to do this, and I immediately wake up with those thoughts in my brain, that's probably most likely how the rest of my day is gonna go. Instead, what I do is I wake up every single morning around 5:30, which I know is ridiculously early. I'm not telling you to get up at that time. I wake up, the first thing that I do is I sit down and I write out everything that I want to accomplish for the day. I even write out things like, get all of my meals in, go to the gym, walk 10K steps, because there is art in crossing something off and getting something done. It naturally makes you want to do things throughout the day versus getting up, waking up, and having this crazy negative mindset. I used to be like that. I used to genuinely believe that everything in my life was terrible, that I had no control over how I was feeling, and that's just not true. In reality, you have majority of control of your life and you get to choose what kind of day you want to have. Once you get over that hump and you stop babying yourself and giving yourself, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, or giving yourself a free pass, once you stop doing that, you start to realize that these things become habits and you actually start to feel worse when you don't do them. Once you do something for 2 weeks at a time, it's gonna start to feel like that's your normal routine. And once you're out of routine, as in not going to the gym, not doing cardio, not doing the tasks that you have to do, not speaking positively to yourself, that's gonna start to feel like what being undisciplined felt like to you. Shitty, annoying, a nag, nothing that benefits you. I think the biggest thing that we have to stop doing is babying ourselves. We baby ourselves all the time. We baby ourselves every single day. And we allow ourselves to do it because we're the ones doing it to ourselves. Even if you're sitting and having so much negative talk about what you hate about your life, what you hate about yourself, nothing's gonna be enough. Nobody's gonna pull you up off the couch and say, get up and go do this. Nobody's gonna do that. And even if someone does that for a week at a time or 2 weeks at a time, the only person that actually does it is you. Stop babying yourself, tell yourself you're gonna do something and stick to it. And once you stick to it, see how good that feels. That is kind of the bottom line. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into it, but for now, that's what I'm gonna leave it at. Next question that's slightly related to the one that we were just talking about, but the question is, have you ever dealt with disordered eating? So I'm not gonna lie, this is not something that I have necessarily spoken about online to my family ever, really. And just because it's a lot easier to keep it to yourself sometimes, but the short answer is yes. And I'm about to get into the long answer. Yes, I've dealt with disordered eating, and I've dealt with both sides of disordered eating. I have dealt with binge eating. This is when I was overweight and kind of right before I was overweight. I was in a terrible, terrible relationship for my mental health, for my physical health, and I started to believe a lot of things that that person was telling me. That I was fat, I was overweight, that all of these terrible things that I won't repeat. And during that time, I felt really alone. I didn't have a lot of friends. My family life was pretty shitty, just to keep it a buck. And I didn't really know what else to turn to. And at the end of the day, what was there for me in a way was food. And I would binge specifically at night a lot. And that is why I would gain weight so rapidly, because I would eat, normally throughout the day, nothing wrong there. Do no exercise other than sit and sulk. And then at nighttime, when the voices got a little bit too loud, I would start to binge eat. However, once I got out of that relationship, thank you, Jesus, I realized that I had become overweight. And I kind of did the opposite, and I went down a path of losing weight rapidly. This is not a healthy way to lose weight. I would not recommend it to anybody else, but I was definitely under eating and over exercising, which is something that's really hard to be vulnerable about, especially when you've dealt with both, because sometimes there was this voice in my head saying that I wasn't sick enough, or that I wasn't going through enough, or that I didn't experience it bad enough. So why was I making it about me? Or why was I making it into something that it's not? Or, it's better to just keep it to yourself, because if you keep it to yourself, you're the only one who has to deal with it. Obviously, that's an unhealthy way to deal with anything in life. But for me, I didn't know what else to do. I was just doing cardio, not really eating at all. And then I actually was drinking a lot during this time in my life to cope with things I don't really know. And I would just drink on the weekends, and I would never fuel my body the way that it was supposed to be fueled. There was just so many things about my life at the time that was so different than it is now that were making me feel that way. I think the only way that I got out of that was wanting to be strong. There is nothing glamorous about being skin and bones. There is nothing glamorous about losing your hair. There's nothing glamorous about always being nauseous and sick, always throwing up, feeling like you can't keep food down when you finally choose to eat. There is nothing beautiful about that. And once I don't know, I literally woke up and snapped out of it one day and was like, what the am I doing to my body? The body that God gave me, the body that I'm supposed to be fueling and nourishing and using for good. I snapped out of it, and I realized that there is nothing glamorous about that, and that I pretty much just wanted to be strong. So I started learning a lot more about nutrition and learning actual facts, and not what I had already made up in my mind about what was good or bad for me. Fats and carbs was a really big thing that I used to stay away from. Whatever. So dumb. So dumb. So dumb to deprive yourself of things that you need, not want, need. Especially when I was going out on the weekends and drinking and spending money on alcohol. And that's what I wanted to do. And I wasn't doing a single thing that I needed to do. So once I had my priorities straight and kind of realized that I want to be strong, I don't want to be skinny, I want to be healthy, I don't want to be sick, that's when I started to change it. I learned things about nutrition, I learned things about lifting, and I just started doing it. I did it by myself. I didn't tell anyone about it. I hid myself for months. And once I had finally kind of come out of that, which this wasn't even that long ago, I was probably at my smallest in the summer of 2024, so not even 2 years ago. And I have made a lot of progress since then. So I think it's kind of a choice that only you get to make, because nobody's going to make that choice for you. And I know that sounds harsh, but that is the reality of it. So then I think it's only appropriate to answer the next question, which is, what is your workout split? So I do need some patience from you guys a little bit from this, because I am possibly making a link to all my workouts and that kind of stuff very soon. But as of right now, I hit legs 3 times a week, and I hit upper body / a very low intensity upper body 3 days a week. And then my 1 day a week that I don't lift, I just have an active rest day where I'm just cleaning the house or doing whatever. Every single day though, I do try to hit 10K steps. I am currently in a surplus. I won't call it a bulk because I haven't really been bulking. but I am in a surplus right now. I just get 10K steps a day because it makes my body feel good. It helps my digestion. It's good for everybody to walk. It's so good for your joints, your knees, your muscles, everything to be in movement at some part of your day. But stay tuned for an actual in-depth version of that. For my next question, I'm going to combine two of them, and it is, what are you studying in school, and do you plan on staying in Chicago after school? So a lot of you guys don't know, but I'm in school. I am currently studying healthcare administration. I was in nursing school for 2 years in Minnesota, and I was just like, no, not for me. I just couldn't do it. I have a really hard time not taking on other people's emotional baggage, and I just think that role for me was not appropriate. So I'm doing healthcare administration. I am hopeful that the school that I'm at will allow me to do a fast track master's program. They've already offered it, but I obviously need to enroll and apply for it. But that would be great because then I could finish my master's in like 5.5 years. Praying. So then that brings in the question, am I going to stay in Chicago? I would stay in Chicago for a couple of more years, but I don't think that this is a place I would want to raise my family and children. And I'm not sure where my next destination would be, but I do want to move around the world. I want to go to Florida. I want to go out of the country. I want to travel a lot, especially after school with no responsibilities tying me down. And so I think that would probably prompt me to live somewhere else. I also don't think I would ever go back to Minnesota and live there just because I sounded so Minnesotan when I said that, Minnesota. But I do love Minnesota. My family's there. I love them. I would go visit. You can always visit places, which is what I always say to people who are thinking about moving. You can always visit. And I had a really hard time moving. I had a really, really, really hard time. I am somebody who takes on a protector role in my family a lot. And I mean that in a lot of different ways. But moving was really hard for me because my entire life I've pretty much only considered how something might affect my family or how the dynamic would change without me there, all of that kind of stuff. And so it was really hard for me to make a choice for myself, especially because there's a lot of guilt around it, there's a lot of shame around it, and everything that goes into that. But I also know that this is something that I did for myself, and I have never regretted making the decision to move, ever. Move in your 20s, move when you can, move when you don't have responsibilities, do something for yourself. Who's texting me? I know who it is. Ooh, I really like this question. What is something you would tell your younger self? Any advice? As you guys know, or probably most of you guys know, I've been doing social media for a really long time, and that has taught me a lot for sure, but also taught me a lot about myself and how I feel about myself. I think if there was something that I could tell my younger self, I would say, girl, stop being so insecure over everything. Someone else's opinion does not determine your actual worth and how you should view and feel about yourself. I got so caught up thinking about what other people thought about me, especially when I was on social media at such a young age, and everyone's perception and how I would be viewed and my reputation and all of that kind of stuff. I was so caught up in it that I eventually started to literally hate myself. I started to take everybody's words and apply them to my life as if it was 100% true, whether it was good or bad. So I think something that I would tell my younger self, to stop caring so much about other people and to start caring so much about yourself. As someone who's not currently insecure with themselves, really, I mean, of course we all have our things that we don't like about ourselves and whatever, but as somebody who is not insecure about their life, looking back now, it's so embarrassing because I'm like, what are you doing? I just want to slap her. Some of the things she was posting or saying, or the people that she allowed to like literally ruin those years of her life, I just want to slap her. Like, get up, raise your standards, have confidence in yourself, and care about yourself as much as you care about other people. I'm gonna go over to my Instagram too, because I know that you guys asked questions on there. Bro, when did I post it? Can't be that hard. Okay, I literally can't find it. Like, what? It's Friday night. I want something sweet. What's your favorite time of the day, and what do you do to kick off the day right? Good question. So I know I talked about this in the beginning of my video, but mornings are the best time of the day by far for me. I wake up early, the world is quiet, my apartment is quiet, and I'm able to get so much done in such a short amount of time because there's not many distractions. Like when you really think about it, there's not many people who are up like bothering you or emailing you or texting you or sending you school stuff or whatever it is at like 5:30, 6 a.m. It just doesn't really happen, which is a good thing because then your brain can be quiet. There is nothing that I love more than my time in the morning by myself. And the way that I kickstart my day is I sit down, write out my to-do list, like I said, and then after that, I'm off my phone for at least 30 minutes, unless I'm like filming or something because I'm just on my camera app. But I'm off my phone for 30 minutes and I'm doing at least 2 tasks. The task can be tiny or the task can be something that I've been putting off for weeks. For example, I'll wake up, I'll unload the dishwasher, start a load of laundry, and do some hygiene. That's such a good start to your day versus laying in bed saying, oh my gosh, I have all this stuff to do today. Let me get up and have a slow morning so I can... No. That's back to babying yourself. No more babying yourself in 2026. Supplements. Let's talk supplements. You can use code Cigna, by the way, on Axe and Sledge for all of the supplements and all the supplements I take. But let's talk about what I take for a day-to-day basis. The first thing that I take is creatine. I take this every single day and I drink it with orange juice in the morning. Along with the orange juice and the creatine, I take L-glutamine. I'm also going to read you off some benefits and actual facts about each one so that you can actually have an understanding of what it does for you. I take 5 grams of creatine every day, and this is what it does. Creatine helps increase strength, boost muscle energy, and improve workout performance by replenishing your body's natural energy stores. It's also a naturally occurring compound found in muscle cells that helps produce energy during high-intensity exercise. By increasing your body's supply of creatine, it allows you to train harder, lift heavier, and perform more total reps. Creatine is such a good beginner supplement. I think the only thing that you need to make sure you're doing is drinking a gallon of water every day. That is very important when you're taking creatine. You need enough water in your body to do what it needs to do. Speaking of which. Okay, as for glutamine, I also take glutamine in the morning with the creatine because they're both unflavored and the orange juice masks the powdery feeling. It's so easy to take them because then I never forget and I always have it done right away in the morning. For glutamine, supports training by aiding muscle recovery and immune function, helping reduce soreness and fatigue so you can train harder and more consistently. Another thing that I really love about L-glutamine is it's great for your gut, especially right away in the morning. So if you're having problems with that, I think that's another really good beginner supplement. Other things that I take throughout the day or most days is ashwagandha. I take ashwagandha because I don't take any SSRIs and I got anxiety. And I found that it is the easiest over-the-counter vitamin that I can take that sometimes helps ease it. Additionally, I take a pre-workout usually every day and I kind of switch up which one I like to take, but Intake is my favorite STIM pre-workout or HWMF, which is hardworking. Both of those have great sources of caffeine, great for muscle pumps, for blood flow, endurance, all of that kind of stuff. But when I'm looking for a non-stim option, I love this, that Axe and Sledge also has this option. It's called Hydraulic, and it gives you the same kinds of feelings just without the caffeine. So good. And honestly, my favorite thing to do is stack them together. Okay, I finally found my Instagram where you guys ask me questions. Finally. But there's really good questions in here, so I'm excited. Do you follow a daily meal plan and would you recommend calorie/protein tracking? So I know I talked about disordered eating earlier, and something that's actually really helped me is tracking my food. I only started doing this recently once I kind of got over all of that stuff because I don't think if you are in an unhealthy mind space that you should be tracking your food. That's my take on that. If you are not in one of those spaces, tracking your protein is so helpful because the most important goal is your protein goal if you want to grow muscle. And it's sometimes people just can't track in their head or they like to track specifically, weighing it out, that kind of stuff, which is something that I have grown fond of. As for my calories, everybody's is different, and I tell this to everybody and they hate hearing that answer, but that is true. I currently eat around, or I try to eat like 3K calories a day. It doesn't always get there, and like 150 grams of protein. I'm in a surplus though. Everybody's goals are different and everyone's body and genetics are different. If you want to find out what calories work for you, you can go to a TDEE calculator on the Safari or Google, whatever you use. Put in all of your information and it should give you a cutting, maintenance, and bulking phase and what they should what your basic calories should look like. That's a really easy way to start off. What's some advice for getting over the fear of posting? What a good question. This is kind of a loaded question because even now I sometimes have the fear of posting. But once you realize that literally nobody cares. Nobody cares what you're posting. And if they care about what you're posting, that's a fan. Being consistent is what helped me grow the most, posting a bunch of times a day, posting the same content, getting a fan base started. Not being afraid of what you're posting. What it comes down to is being confident in yourself. If you like the content that you're pushing out, then you should not have any feelings of, why would I post that? Oh my God, I'm embarrassed of that. And if you do feel that way, then you need to find content that kind of aligns with you better, because I think that when you feel like an imposter or you feel like you're making content based on what other people are making, you're not gonna have as much fun with it. How to not feel guilty for resting / not getting enough steps for the day. Great question as well. This is all a mindset thing, but at the end of the day, your body needs the same break that your mind, your friends, your family, your TV, your oven, your micro, everything in life needs a break in some way. Your body is one of those things. And when you push it to its limits, it gets sick, it gets overwhelmed, your nervous system acts up, and you're not gonna actually end up reaching those goals. What I do when I have an off day or when I binge or when I feel that overwhelming feeling of guilt over not walking enough, not exercising, not eating, or eating too much, whatever one it is, I start my next day the same way that I start all my other days. Get up. You're not gonna solve overeating or under-exercising with under-eating and over-exercising. I promise you that is such an unhealthy habit to have, and it's a very common one. What you're gonna do, you're gonna wake up the next day and you're gonna go and do the shit that you said you would do the day before. You're gonna do it the same way, you're gonna eat all your meals, you're gonna eat the same amount, you're gonna go work out, you're gonna get the same amount of steps that you would any other day, because once you start over or under of something, that's when you start to slip into the negative mindset. And it's really, really, really hard to not have that negative mindset. But the more that you speak out loud and speak positively to yourself, the more positivity is going to come back into you. Everything is truly a mindset, and your life is what you make of it. Of course, there's other factors, your friends, peers, family, school, responsibilities, jobs, life, all of that kind of stuff is a factor of your life, but your discipline and your mindset on things is up to you. You're the only one who gets to choose that, because you're the only one who lives up here. I feel like I covered pretty much the basics, and a lot of you guys asked very similar questions, so there was a bunch of doubled up. I will definitely do more Q&As in the future too, so if I didn't get to your question this time, I 100% will get to it next time. I could literally sit here and yap forever and ever and ever though, so I definitely need to wrap this up. Like I said, I'm really excited to start having YouTube again as an outlet, and I know that it'll be great for you guys to hear me speak in long form versus just short form, and kind of have it all on one platform. As always, I love you so much. Take care of yourself, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.